and that the county for adjudication, jail supervision, treatment was spending $55 million, nearly 56, for a total in a city and county of about 700,000 people, $70,800,000 fighting the drug war. Now, I couldn't get the city club to go ahead and do this study. Perhaps I was sounding too partisan or whatever, but the point is, if you use a little intelligence, and you have to extrapolate numbers, you can't just take a raw number, you've got to break it down into what its component parts are.
So, we commend you for gathering the data, and I think the following question is, that's a lot of money for a town. How much of the money that local law enforcement is using in these efforts comes from the federal government?
That's a question that I had when I made the proposal for the study, and where the money comes from, how is it delivered, how is it distributed, and does the availability of funding drive policy or programs? And I think we all know that the federal money comes down and it's contingent on arrests. So the cops go out and make lots of low-level arrests, and then you go back to the federales and say, see how effective we're being, give us more money.
Yes, that's a quota system, and I think that happens in many small town and large city police forces across the United States. It's important to find out exactly where the federal money is being spent and under what conditions law enforcement can receive that money and what they have to do in order to receive more. And I commend you for doing that. If your local civic organization won't publish the figures, I urge you to find a citizens watchdog group in your community that will.
Thank you very much.
I think that budgetary considerations are going to become much more important now. I think one reason why alcohol prohibition ended simply because during the Great Depression the country couldn't afford it, and that we have such serious problems in.
I said, now there's a thought.
Yes. Well, yeah. The fact is that budgetary constraints are going to become much more important. Here in California, in particular, the state is $8 billion in the hole, or deeper in the hole, and so I think that it's something that in the past, whatever it costs, it's worth it. It's not going to fly anymore. Sir.
I have two questions. First of all, I want to thank Dan and Russ for their PowerPoint presentations. And I want to ask them if we can get those available to us as well as the audio transcripts beyond today online.
They're on the CDs that came in every attendee's packet, so you have them already.
And all the video we're filming.
And I have a question for Dan, for Paul rather, excuse me. Paul, my question is, you mentioned 1,000 studies a day on medical cannabis.
No, that was over the course of the year.
Of course of the year. Is there, in your view, the particularly good websites for finding them quickly and efficiently?
National Library of Medicine, the best. It's not even, I wouldn't even put another website in the realm. You can do a word search on cannabis, cannabinoids, whatever. It searches every single medical journal that's out there, not just American ones.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Larissa Holy-Hunters. I'm an honor graduate from the University of Santa Cruz in California. It is not only ethical to use cannabis hemp, but it's also very moral. My question today is, it was mentioned that between 6 to 7 stories regarding medical cannabis or anything to do with hemp is reported in the media, just the regular media. And my question is how can we, as the people of the United States, make sure that the thousands of stories that should be there are there?
Well, that is the question of the year, or the last 30-some-odd years, and this really is, I think, one of what we're trying to do here. Bruce, from a practical point of view?
Well, just to add to what was said before, you know, one of the great things about the internet now is that very often newspapers and other news organizations put email addresses of their reporters and editors, etc., online. You can send them story ideas. Do it. You can also, of course, take advantage of the letters page, of comments section on websites, or the op-ed pages. You know, let's not. Newspapers are old media, but some people do still read them, and their stuff gets passed around on the web now. You know, about the stuff that Paul was talking about the data showing that cannabinoids fight cancer, I finally got so frustrated, particularly after the Kennedy thing, I wrote a column about it, and it got published in the Providence Journal, a decent-sized paper in Providence, Rhode Island. Also put it up on Alternet. So, you know, to some degree, you can do it yourself and occasionally get it in there. And on the CD that you got, there's a Word document that I put together with some suggestions and all that stuff.
Excellent. I had benign cysts in my breast from 1996 until 2006. My mother had breast cancer, grandmother and great-grandmother, and I'm here as living proof that with cannabis and cannabinoids and THC that we are blessed with, you can get rid of the benign cancer cells in the body. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for that. And again, important job, the author, for coming to media.